I'm going to show you how I iron. So I already ironed this side. So you know how your iron has that little sharp piece at the one end, or your ironing board, and then the other side is square. I always go to the last part where I ironed, and then I bring it down. I lift up and come and bring it down, and then I'll kind of go back a little bit on this end, and then I'll iron that a little bit right there. And I will go ahead and starch too, because you got to starch it. But you got to do this for your whole piece. That all the fabric that you're doing needs to be washed, ironed, and starched, because you want it to be nice and wrinkle free. And the reason why you wash it and starch and iron it, when you use starch, do not use steam. You just want to dry iron with your starch. And if you don't want to starch, then you can just steam it. But you need to do that to get the shrink out of your fabric before you quilt your quilt, because if you don't do that, and then when you wash your quilt, it's going to all shrink up and bubble up and stuff like that on your with your threads. And of course, since we talk about threads, always use 100% cotton on when you're doing quilts, with your quilt material and your thread. So see how easy that was? I just go along and iron it, set it back down, do it again. And I'm ironing from salvage to salvage like I showed you earlier. So, because I'm keeping it in one direction, of course, because that's the way I'm going to be folding it when I cut. Because if I cut it the other way, it's called a bias. You're cutting on the bias, and you don't want to do that with your quilt, because you'll have, when you cut on the bias, your quilt can stretch as you're doing your pieces and your blocks, and it can distort your quilt also. So see how I spray the starch, and then I run my hand across it to where it don't get all crumbly. There's like a little crumble thing if you don't do that. And then I'm just running the iron back over it again, and drying up all the starch, making it look nice and flat, and because it gets all janked up. That's my word, janked. All janked up when you wash it. You can, I don't know if you can see it or not, but you see all these little threads on the end. It all threads out when you wash it. But there's a little trick that they say that you can do, and to keep all that thread knotting up when you do your pieces. But I do it sometimes I don't. Before you wash your fabric, you want to nip each corner off at an angle, just a tiny piece on each corner of your fabric, and that will stop all that unraveling of the fabric. So I'm just ironing. It makes it smell so good too when you wash your fabric. It gets all that chemicals that they put in it to preserve it. Some people are allergic to that stuff, so you need to make sure you wash all that out, especially if you're doing a baby quilt, because you don't want the baby to have all that stuff on them, you know. So that's what I wanted to let you know. And then I'll show you how I fold it in a minute, okay?